let's get to your fight. This is bizarre, I got to tell you, because I talked to Josh Grispi a little while ago, and he's like, "Yeah, this guy's my hero. I was asking for an autograph, and we're doing the stare down." What's that like for you? Because it's bizarre looking across at a kid who's 20 years old, but you know he can beat ass, so it's like it's a little weird.
No, I mean, and so they asked me the same thing because he's like, "No, seriously, can I get an autograph?" And I'm like, "Of course, absolutely." I mean, and I'm always like, well, if you want one, sure, I'm not going to say no. But, I mean, that's that role. That's the role that I'm in. That's that position that I've been in because, again, I started in this when we were blacked out. We weren't even on cable. We weren't anywhere. These guys got to see this. I pioneered a weight class, and I knew that these guys would be coming up, 6th grade, training MMA, wanting to be a jiu-jitsu, an MMA fighter, and being able to do the Muay Thai classes and stuff. And here they are. And I'm trying to mingle with them. I'm trying to fight with them and try to learn at the same time. So, I mean, it is a great show of respect. I do think he's a very, very tough kid. He's got an extremely bright future. And, it's just one of those things where you just got to be professional. When they close the cage, it's time to fight. Am I going to hate him afterwards? No. Is he going to hate me? Probably not. So we don't have to hate each other to fight. That's the difference between people try to say it's street fighting. No, it's not. We don't need all this, this hatred and animosity and life and death. No, man, this is a sport. I'm going to test my skills against a younger guy, a younger kid who's got a lot of great, great skills, and we're going to find out what happens.
I did like what you said after the fight in San Diego, because I don't think I've ever heard an older fighter actually admit this. You're like, boy, if I'm around in 2 years, someone like a Jose Aldo, you're like, man, I don't know what this guy's going to be like.
Yeah.
Because you're looking at guys in their early 20s, as you said. I mean, this is their life. And, boy, the athleticism, the mix, it's getting pretty impressive out there.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, again, to been able to have had that kind of ability, I was just fortunate that I was a wrestler. So I was doing that one-on-one competition all the way through high school and college and getting that kind of training. But you look at those other guys that were trying, and they were a martial artist or they were a ground guy. When you were a stand-up guy, you had no idea about ground. When you were a ground guy, you had no idea about stand-up. Now you see these kids, this is what we paved. This is what we created. Now we have to reap the whirlwind, so to speak, because they're firing at you. And if you're going to try and stay competitive, you got to be fighting guys like this all the time.
Main event, you should have good perspective on this. You fought Uriah twice, and yet you've been in there with him, and I kind of feel like some people are writing him off. I keep hearing about how big and strong Mike Brown is. He's dominant. In some ways, I think people are forgetting how skilled Uriah is. But he's got a challenger. He's a smaller guy, but what do you think?
Well, the one thing is I'm looking at Faber now. He's not very small. He sized up a little bit. He looks good. And I think, he understands it, and he's got to get more hard-nosed. Uriah is fast. He loves the scrambles. He loves to create those situations because he's always been able to do crazy things. Well, now he's finally got in there with the guy. You just can't get away with that stuff. You're not going to get away with that with Brown. You got to beat him almost heads up. You got to beat him at his game, and you got to power through him. And that's what gives Brown the advantage because Brown's been doing it longer. Uriah is going to have to do that if he really wants to. I mean, he might be able to catch him. He might be able to land something crazy because, find someone like me dumb enough to follow you around and let you just do your thing. But, on the same token, Brown he is right there in your face, and when you slip up, he's right there to pound you. And I think he showed that again with Garcia's. If you even leave one opening, he's blasting you. And that's the one thing is Faber did all kinds of openings, left all kinds of things open because he was creating scrambles. That's what gets him caught with a guy like Brown. So did he tighten up? Is he going to be tightened up? Can he fight that way? We'll see.
What's the gut feeling? What do you think? It sounds like you're leaning towards Brown. Too many ifs and question marks on the other side.
I'm leaning towards Brown in the fight, but I'm cheering for Faber when it comes to getting your belt back and coming to getting that done. I think he's a great guy. I think he works hard. He deserves it. They both deserve it. Obviously, if you look at it, you got to go, man, Brown again. But at the same token, if I'm cheering, I'll be cheering for Faber.